Guys, we have 10 minutes, so if you needed to use the restroom, we're just gonna kind of hang out here and chit and chat. You are in charge today. I'm going to drink this delicious non-alcoholic beverage.
Are we still back in 5 more minutes?
Hey, I opened it fresh here just to prove that it's not alcoholic.
You need more. I have one in my tail.
Wait.
It's a zipper.
Oh, that's cool.
All right.
Where is the zipper? That is good. That is excellent. Fantastic. There he is. How you doing, Bertie? How are you? Bertie McBareface. Hey, hold on. I'm just sending messages. There. Oh, you didn't need my message, I see.
Not this time.
No.
I'm on top of shit.
In that case, don't listen to the insults I've been sending you for 3 days.
Thank God I've got you blocked.
Reminder to everyone, PG-13. Keep it under PG-13. Yeah, neither do I most of the time, so me and you are just going to bleep each other constantly.
Good.
PG-13, that means we can drop the F-bomb 13 times, right?
13.
No! No!
Right, that's exactly it.
Not in the movies.
Fudge. But I didn't say fudge. I said
But I
the
didn't
other
say
word.
Yeah, that's a
The dash dash.
that is a wonderful movie.
That's a great movie. Christmas Story?
Yes.
Christmas Story.
Don't shoot your eye out.
I'm hanging in there. I don't know.
I'm sorry, did the young one up in front just say, I like to swear when it's appropriate? Because that's what I heard. You can swear in PG-13 movies. Are your parents here?
No.
They're not?
In the
What
bathroom.
swears have you learned from PG-13 movies? Already before your parents get here.
I mean, I saw The Shining like a week ago.
Is there swears in The Shining?
Yeah.
I just remember elevator
There's an
blood.
elevator of blood.
Like you do.
There's a naked girl that moves into her grandma, so.
So what all elevators eventually had happened?
Only elevators with lines like these.
Right.
That's going to be how we let you guys know there's too many people on this elevator. Just blood comes rushing out. It's like, there are too many people. Yeah. That's what happens when you hit truck A. Oh, Woody. Oh, it's almost like you're an ex-con chair. Woody, would you care to tell us about escalators and maximum weight loads? Maximum?
I love Maximum. That's my favorite magazine. Maximum magazine.
Here's a piece of advice for all of you. Do not combine booze and more booze with more booze. It is not fun the next day.
I know that.
I think that's the magazine that Steely Dan got the name from.
Oh,
Do you remember the man in the bear suit scene from?
Oh God! That is so weird.
Do you need
I
assistance?
thought it was a dog.
I literally.
No, it's a bear. It's from the book. That's where that's from. Yeah, in The Shining, the book, that scene happens. It's like one of those one paragraph, like it's just there. And Kubrick is like, yeah. And I'm like, no. And Kubrick's like, this is happening to you. Okay, genius. Okay.
My boyfriend and I watched that.
There's-
What is going on?
No, nothing.
I must have blinked and missed that because somebody pointed out to me it's in there.
Not in most versions. That scene is cut from almost all versions.
From almost all virgins of the movie.
You guys are gonna get some weird stories today with wrong words, and I'm like, yes, Giza, there he is.
You don't want to draw anymore?
Am I late?
No,
Yes.
No, we haven't started yet.
You're actually 5 minutes early.
Oh, Woody, do you have like a list of stories to tell?
I do.
Oh, you're the most prepared. You're in charge.
Damn it.
Oh, you both? Good news. They're going to be talking. We're going to have nap time.
So just out of curiosity, as people are still filtering in, who here is attending this panel for the very first time?
No. Okay, out of you, keep your hand up. You're lying. Are you lying? No.
There's really that many newcomers to this panel.
Oh,
We have to tell at least 2 classics.
I see a hand way in the back.
This panel in general.
And which one?
Gateway Fermi?
Oh, I was so drunk for that one.
Yes,
That phrase has never been uttered by Alkali before today.
What do you mean once?
Yeah.
Because he didn't remember the other ones.
Oh yeah, I remember the great. That was just like, you want to hear some stuff about conventions? Here we go, murder. Oh no.
And we're on the topic of telling the truth. I was drunk for that one.
I think all of Gateway Furmeat was drunk.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years. We can actually tell the Gateway Furmeat story. Oh yeah.
Hold on,
it's
was
been
it
two.
wasn't the requirement to get into there one bottle of booze?
Yeah, because they wouldn't serve us booze.
Right.
The convention/hotel closed the bar because they thought that would deter us. We rented a truck from U-Haul for an hour to stock a room with booze and put a sign that said bar on the door.
Looks like
Didn't need to be.
You could have put speakeasy on it.
No. We are not. I really appreciate it. No, we are
I was
not.
wondering, I was like,
Yeah, there's a reason I'm. Yeah. Or
I
else
mean, you could be hiding.
the hair of the no. I opened it here so that I don't get in trouble this year.
Water.
It is.
Water.
There's your convention horror story, because that happens every year, right, Woody? Let me give you the email that I get after every convention. Alcohol, thank you so much for going, and can you stop drinking all the time? And I answer no.
yes.
And they invite you back.
Oh yeah, every time with more booze.
Maybe it's reverse psychology. They're giving you more booze to try and make you stop.
Do not forget, MFF is a dry con. That is why I'm not drinking up here. And for those of you who do plan on drinking tonight, please know your limits. I had to take somebody to bed last night that I had not met before. And if you want to talk about first impressions, I know him on the outside and the in. So, know
PG-13?
your limits. What?
PG-13?
That's in vomit. I'm talking about vomit. Shut up, Woody.
Woody, you have a weird fetish.
I've learned new things about you.
You know I am king of punch-up.
Here's a little hint for you guys. If I do this, cover my mouth, that means I was about to say something that I can't say during this panel. Come to me afterwards. I'll start writing them down.
Just start writing them down now.
Oh, we need to put a book together.
Stuff we couldn't say during the PG-13 panel.
Con horror stories. Hashtag the things we couldn't say.
Yes.
I don't know. I think you like to talk into a microphone.
You should take.
Where
Yeah,
you just talk.
you two
This
share that one. You two share this one. Oh, and you have that one.
He has one.
Yeah, he's got one.
No,
Woody.
Woody's got his own microphone.
Yeah, grab this one.
Proficient.
Are you working on con stuff during a panel?
Cupcake.
Yes.
Horror stories.
We also had the moment where me and this gentleman did have our, oh my God, we're running a con and it's going poorly. So we both sat down and challenged each other to a nice-off. Oh yeah, it was glorious. You remember that now, don't you? We had a nice-off. When you run a con, and I think every single person up here can tell you this, there is stuff that happens behind the scenes. Stuff is going to happen that will make your skin crawl, that just makes you feel like you have not done what you could do to make this con the amazing atmosphere that you could. And that's going to get to you, and it got to both of us once. So we sat down, and we brought out a six-pack of Angry Orchard cinnamon cider. And we had a nice-off where we went back and forth, cheersing the convention and saying nice things about it, and then taking... So we finished a six-pack of Angry Orchard heartburn cider, and then immediately had to go run a panel, and this is serious. So you're a parent in the fandom. We went and talked to a bunch of people who had brought their children. So across the hall was the 18 and under meetup run by an absolutely amazing 17-year-old. They did a great panel. And on the other side of the hall, there are two people who had just gone through a major bout of depression who got drunk to fix it or on cloud nine because now their con is great because they were just saying nice things about it. Those adults had a very good time. At one point, one of them yelled out, like, "There's babysitters across the street." She opens her purse and produced a flask that I was scared of. So us and like, what was it, 5? It was only like 5 adults. We got ripped during this panel with the door closed, and they're just like, "I love the furry fandom. My kid is so much more outgoing." And at the very end of it, the tail end, the one dad goes, My son didn't get back to the room till 12 o'clock last night, and I figured out his sexual preference. And just took the longest swig off it, and everyone's quiet, and he goes down and goes, "That a boy." To the parents, of the fandom, keep being you.
Alkali, do you remember, I think it was at Anthrocon's Con Horror Stories panel that we caused a lost child? Do you remember that?
Oh no!
Wait, what?
Yeah.
So this past Anthrocon,
Wait, it was AC?
I think it was, they kind of blur together after
it was
a while.
totally AC.
At the last Anthrocon, we did Con Horror Stories at 11 o'clock at night, which is a proper hour for going through that horror. And some kid, like a 12-year-old, I think, attended the panel. And at the beginning, we're like, everyone turn your cell phones, off, turn the ringers off. We don't want it to go off in the middle of the panel. So this kid dutifully turned off his cell phone. His dad was trying to get a hold of him, going like, "Son, where are you? Son, where are you?" And then he showed up in ops and was like, "My kid's missing." "No, your kid's fine. He was with us."
I mean, I would not define that as far. The kid goes back, he's like, "What did you learn, son?" "Oatmeal." Butter.
And DuckTales.
Woo! You guys are going to get in on all of these jokes today. Don't worry about it. This is a very old panel, so before we introduce everybody, I want to give a shout out to somebody who's not here, one of the creators of this panel. He's been doing it for years. He's actually stepped away from it because his con runs so smoothly that he lied to me and told me that his con ran smoothly, so he doesn't have to do this panel anymore. To the gentleman who started this in the fandom, Uncle Kage. If any of you are recording this, thank you. Sam, wish you were here, buddy. So to introduce the panel, we have Woody! Now, Woody, you were con chairman of MFF.
2014 15 and 16.
So you were con chairman here, you are director of Yelling at Me on Twitter here.
Social media.
Yelling at Me on Twitter here. And in charge of the Reg Line, just so you guys know. That was his one thing. Just everything else was Reg, but he was the line, so.
We survived.
Thank goodness.
Twice.
To the other side of the table, the director of operations at every con that has ever existed, I think. Giza, could you tell them what cons you have been director of ops at?
Technically, Director of Ops was only at AC officially. But I spent 14 years in the board of directors at Anthrocon, and then I said, "Hey, 14 years of good behavior, I'm eligible for parole." And they said, "Okay, you can just run social media from now on." Oh, God.
You have to see how this guy runs social media. At my job, I have to use 8 different monitors to watch stock markets. I walked into their operations. He has a 95-inch plasma TV surrounded with individual monitors with charts and graphs and like things that go ping. Like, what is that? He's like, well, somebody just a machine that goes ping. Somebody just said something bad about Anthrocon, and I'm finding out where they live.
For those of you with a tech background, I'm splunking Twitter. No joke.
And for those of you without a tech background, that was, in fact, PG-13. Guys, over to my right, we're just going to call him Beaky McBeakface. Go ahead, do your introduction. Tell them what you do, you truck-crashing idiot.
I am the director for logistics at Anthrocon. I make sure everything is set up for all you bastards.
That's a good way to start it. Ladies and gentlemen, your logistics team. I hate you all. That is how logistics works. And finally, guys, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce Lord Panelist! Convention chairman of IFC, director of everything at like 4 different cons, and kind of a sap. We just make him do stuff.
I get thrown in to do random stuff at conventions. Officially, I'm vice chair of Motor City Fursuiters in Michigan, and I had a 3-year stint as chair of IFC, and now I just staff, and it's very much more relaxing.
Also, don't forget, you're part of the con couch at EnigmaCon.
Oh, yes.
That is sad when you say your staff and it's less stressful.
And you say staffing is less stressful, but we'll get to that.
Oh yes.
It depends on the position.
PG-13. My name is Alkali. I am con-chair of Fursuiters in Milwaukee Brookfield. Nope, Wisconsin Brookfield, near Milwaukee. I don't know where my own con is. I have been on the board at a few conventions. I've been doing this for quite some time. Normally I do finance because I try to make the money not disappear.
And you're a Jew.
Until we go, and I'm a Jew. Thank you. And I was very good at making the money not disappear until the FCLR.
Oh, the FCL. Wait.
It's been 2 years. I owe you so many drinks. Are you kidding me?
Is that your 2-year chip? Is that what?
FCLR is a group of us that run conventions, the Furry Connection Leadership Roundtable. We get together once a year and we talk about you without using names. Basically, what we do at cons, what we can do to help each other, what things we have tried and worked, what things we have tried and failed. Most of it is what things we have tried and failed. This panel right here stems from the FCLR.
And also where you hide the bodies.
Oh, yeah, the river.
Yes.
Well,
we only have that.
I built a river. Well,
We have woods right
remember, always,
hold on. Doesn't Chicago have like a body farm?
yes, Chicago. Chicago is a body farm.
A body farm? This is the weirdest version of like crops I've ever heard.
A bunch of hands come out of the ground and wave. All right.
And when it comes to hiding bodies, I mean, Furry Connection North was in Detroit, so.
Oh, true. Now we found half of them. Put them there. Well, we went to the FCLR, and this year it was in Vegas. Wonderful, wonderful Vegas.
Yes.
And I made an inappropriate joke. And I said,
Shocking, I know.
I've got the first squared credit card. We could just bet it on black. When the financial director of MFF came up to me, pulled out the MFF credit card and said, I've got red. So we decided, instead of risking the conventions, that we would simply watch the roulette wheel. And on a red, he would own my convention. And on black, I would own MFF. It came up 0-0. So it is our great pleasure to announce that I run Fursuiters, a wholly owned subsidiary of MFF Incorporated. And Woody, what do you run?
Midwest Fur Fest, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Fursuiters.
BrotherCon!
Woo! Yep.
We were messed up.
Yeah, well, Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah.
I taught a bunch of people to play craps in Vegas. These are all furries. They had not really gambled a lot before. And I showed them this wonderful game. And then we found out the electronics craps version, you can bet as little as $1. So I watched a bunch of furries go, mother, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh my God, how much you lose? $1.60. Well, Giza, you actually have a line of stories. So would you care to regale us? For those of you who don't know the rules to this, we usually have a 2-year clause. Obviously, this panel is not going to use names. We're not here to make fun of everybody. Stuff happens at conventions. I have been taken to the operations office twice so far. Things happen. We understand. You try not to make them, but a 2-year max, unless everyone agrees to it, including the parties involved. So, Giza, what stories do you have?
Can I actually ask a real quick question, just social media to social media?
You may.
I'm really curious, because I don't know if people saw this on the internet, because I saw a lot of it. A certain con-chair of a certain convention you're intimately aware of has had his face printed on some intimate apparel, which is available online. And people keep sharing this with Midwest Fur Fest, and I'm curious if you've seen this and what your thoughts are.
They don't share it with us for some reason.
Really?
And I'm okay with this.
Weird.
No, it's fine. No, I'm fine not having that shared with me. That's,
Okay.
Just keep having it shared with you, Woody. That's okay.
Cool. People are weird on the internet.
You
I'm
think?
about to forward a bunch of shit to a cockroach. Sorry for the swear. Sorry.
No, PG-13. That's okay.
I get one. That's my one.
Yeah,
He's a go. I gotta email Kagi.
So one of our big horror stories many years ago, when Anthrocon was based out of Philadelphia, it was based in the Adams Mark Hotel, and we'd heard rumors from the staff like, "Hey, this hotel might be changing hands," and apparently that's a thing. A hotel will get. What?
Closer to the microphone.
Sorry.
That's finally.
Thank you. Sorry.
So Anthrocon used to be based out of Philadelphia, and we'd heard rumors from the staff on and on for months. Hey, this hotel might be sold, it might change hands, and apparently it's a thing. Hotels get bought all the time, and like they just change names and business as usual. So the Adams Mark, we get a call late one night from someone who said, "I heard it's closing." And we're like, "What are you talking about?" "I saw it on the news." So we call up our hotel liaison the next morning, and he said, "Yep, it's closing. It's going to become a Target." Yep, not changing hands. They're like, "Nope, all the contracts are being voided." And we called up the Adams Smart corporate office and said, "We have a contract for a convention there." And the rep said, "Well, we have a very nice facility in Texas where you can host your convention at."
Excuse me. No, we
Well, that's what we said. We said, "Excuse me" a lot. We're like, excuse? No, the hotel can't go away. And they're like, "Yep, it's a done deal." So we had to hold a hotel in Center City, Philadelphia next year, and that was fun.
Windham. So here's a really fun side note to that.
Oh.
When you make a contract now with hotels, almost every furry convention now has a clause that basically says, if you read through the legalese, there will be a hotel in the location that is specified at the top of this document on the dates of our convention. And send that to me.
Do not send that to me. I've seen enough. And then the next year we moved to Pittsburgh because Philly's terrible to host conventions in.
So now I like that they turned your store into a Target.
No.
I'm sorry, I like that they turned your hotel into a Target.
No.
Wait, what did they do
No,
with
it's
it?
a Target now.
No, it's not the Target.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
What
I've
is it?
driven by it so many times. It's a Target now.
Target.
Do not argue, tell me what it is!
It's a Target.
It's the Target's parking lot.
Now you're just being difficult.
We had the opposite problem at First Squared this last year, and because this doesn't involve anyone, I can tell it. They shut down, was it a Kohl's? Sears. So everything in the area is slowly like changing hands because it looks like they're going to be building something over there, so they're slowly closing down all these large stores. And we were there on the last days of the Sears, and they put everything up for sale. So we knew that there'd be stuff coming in. We're like, oh, Sears is closing down, people are gonna go over there. We even announced it, like, hey guys, there's gonna be cheap stuff, we don't know what's left, but guess what was left? About 30 mannequins. There were mannequins all over my convention, and no one told me why until Sunday, when they presented me with a mannequin signed by everyone, wearing fuzzy boxers, maybe?
Does this have anything to do with Pharaoh Fox walking around Anthrocon last year with like mannequin arms that were duct taped together?
Yeah!
And, I mean, he's walking around, he's holding these two arms out, and he's like going up to people and mannequin arms, and it was just body horror. And
they made new races. They were just sticking things to things. It's like the future of the furry fandom.
The whole weekend, like people will be walking around and there'd just be like legs and like with the waist and below, and there'd be no upper body whatsoever, just legs and a waist, chilling on my shoulders.
Is that how the Mantar became a thing?
That was the weirdest tar ever. His legs coming out the shoulders. Hi guys.
But the winner was my director of programming. My director of programming was going down the hallway in quite a rush. I was going to be late for a panel, and he was going to cover for me. And as he turned the corner, he saw a gentleman, tall, very statuesque, wearing clothing that somebody else had just drop-kicked. It was a mannequin, and he did not know it at the time, and absolutely panicked. And the call, I remember, I wasn't listening enough. I wish I was, but I think it went, "This director of program to security and a mother," and just stopped. Security came back in a moment ago, and that's when I jumped in. It was like, "The security to programming? What?" I was like, "Never mind, the drop kick was non-fatal." Because when you run a convention with all comedians, it gets weird. Woody, you seem to have a list in front of you.
I do. I have just a whole list here.
Now, there's a lot of new people here, so you can go with an old story like Can Turkeys Fly, or maybe you have something new for us.
Turkeys can fly. No, so yeah, that's a good one actually, and that actually relates to something this weekend already.
I heard.
So this is the snowball thing. We have like people decided that it'd be kind of neat to take their snow from their balconies and like make snowballs and just see if they could break the glass dome. So dumb. Like, I see now that it's apparently leaking. I'm hoping it's not for the same reason, but there's a big bucket out there to catch the... Yeah, so people like throwing things a lot, and I another convention in the same hotel, I don't know how or why, but somebody brought a turkey to the convention. And it was frozen turkey, which makes it worse. Yeah, better. I'm not sure. Worse. So they took a frozen turkey and they wanted to see if it could fly. And we've got this giant atrium out there, and well, it turns out they can't. They fall. They fall. And there's this glass floor out there. I don't know if you've noticed the glass floor. Turns out that thing can take a hit. And it did. It held up, but of course, by the time our convention came around, we still had this gigantic, just shattered glass floor. And we're like, "What is that from?" And the hotel's like, "Funny story."
Now, did you get the story from the bar? Because that is hands down my favorite.
No.
I believe it or not, I spend a lot of time at the bar here. Right? So I was talking to the bartender who happened to be working with the bartender who was on duty when a turkey came crashing from the heavens into a glass floor. And apparently the bartender on duty was standing there pouring a drink into a glass. It shattered and just BAM! Grabbed another glass and served and I just gotta respect that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now, who here is on Telegram really fast? Are you guys following the Midwest Fur Fest official Telegram? There's good. Okay, you should be telling that. Now, you as social media, those are your announcements,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
See, when I read this, I hear it in his voice, and this was my favorite. Could you please read this with inflection? Because I was dying when I saw that come out, the middle one.
Oh.
Yeah, I was dying.
So, we were, we've got this amazing social media chat where we talk about what we need to put out here, and this message came across to us. We really weren't sure how to phrase this, so they decided to just let me type it. And so the post went out as this. Hey guys, MFF social media team here. We don't know how to relay this message, so we're just gonna say it. If you're in the Hyatt, please do not throw snow from off of your balcony. Thanks.
And immediately following when you pushed enter, did you in fact lay your head down on the table?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
Yes, in fact I did. Oh, speaking of, I don't know if you saw our post on like Tuesday in regards to people showing up early.
Well, that was
Not
great.
only did I, most of the people at the Chicago Board of Trade did as well, and asked me a lot of questions.
I can imagine, yeah. So that's and we have expectations of the community, and I think they met all of our expectations in how the responses came to our very simple request. And I'm trying to find it because I know.
Did they send you pictures? Oh God, Woody! That's not how they're supposed to react. Did we tell you not to sit in the lobby for a little bit because we're getting in trouble? Please do not take pictures of you suiting in the lobby giving us the finger. We know you're doing it anyway, just don't show us.
So, let's talk about awkward conversations with hotels.
Oh no.
We got a call at AC Ops one year, at Anthrocon Con Ops, and our hotel liaison was like, "Did you place any orders for industrial gases?" No. So you didn't order any helium? No. There's an attendee with a giant industrial-sized tank of compressed helium in the lobby trying to bring it up to his room. We said, nope, don't let him in. Just take the tank of helium, don't store it in your car, please, in the parking garage.
Did we ever find out why he needed an industrial size?
No, it stopped there. We didn't want to know. No further questions were asked.
Yes, there is one possible reason.
No.
I'm dying to
The inflatable fur fetish has gotten weirder and higher.
pretty high.
Thank you.
Why do you even need the elevator then?
No! Oh my God! We could skip the line.
Wow.
Bring in helium.
You know, now that you say that,
No,
I have a follow-up.
Better yet, you could pack in more light by making it three-dimensional.
No!
Yes!
ooh, Tetris. 3D Tetris with
Remind me to
Fursuiters.
tell Fur to tweet that out from First Square.
No!
Inflatable furs can skip the elevator line by using helium.
Dude, I just opened the front door and the change in pressure sucks them all out. Closing ceremonies is easy now.
I have a follow-up statement / question for the audience. If anyone here happens to find out which room currently has a propane tank and full grill on their balcony, please let us know.
Guess what we get to add to our standards of conduct next year?
If it is someone in this room, you are allowed to leave now with no judgment but a lot of laughter.
I'll put my head down.
If you go through either on the website or in the con book and read through the code of conduct, it looks very serious and foreboding, and all of these things are in there. They're all in there for a reason. Everything that's been put in a code of conduct is a response to something that has happened previously. Because we can't anticipate the stuff you guys come up with anymore. It's just reactionary. Oh, that happened? Code of conduct next year.
And the best part is we do share our codes of conduct for the most part. Like, the first squared code of conduct is a copy of the IFC code of conduct and then changed a little bit, which was a copy of the Anthrocon code of conduct, which they changed a little bit from a deal that Kage made with Satan. Like, that's just all stems from the same place.
I actually think Anthrocon had the first mention of a missile.
Yes. Anthrocon had
Well, as I recall, a certain someone brought a bazooka one year because, like, we said no guns, no knives, and he's like, you didn't say I couldn't bring a bazooka. So then we just changed to no weapons.
That list got extensive.
So we've learned from that. Our code of conduct is getting simpler and simpler because we've learned to start just banning the intent. Because we had a rule against somebody brought a like a bicycle, I think it was, to the hotel, and we had to put in the code of conduct that you weren't allowed to have bicycles. So then somebody the next year brought a tricycle. So then we had to that you weren't allowed to have wheeled vehicles in the lobby. So then they brought a unicycle because there weren't multiple wheels; it was a wheel. So
This is a nervous tick.
yeah. So really, you gotta go after the intent we've learned because it's just there are so many rules. Lawyers they will find their way around it.
What about treads? If you put treads on a bicycle?
No tanks! No tanks! No tanks! New one! Everyone! Add it now! You're giving them ideas!
Pogo stick.
In 20 years, that will be every FurCon's code of conduct. Just a picture of this guy going like,
Just imagine if you had a tank and there was a cat driving it. Would it be a Mowitzer?
Can we mute that mic?
Security.
So I've got this tweet loaded up here from earlier this week because we had Fursuiters in our lobby on Monday. Which was,
That's impressive.
It was terrifying. So our post went to our early attendees. Please keep in mind that until 7 p.m. Wednesday, we are sharing the Hyatt with business guests. The Hyatt has always been accommodating and respectful to us, so please help us return that respect and maintain a business casual atmosphere until then. Following that up, your social media team would like to apologize for any uncertainty with regards to our previous treat, but we would like to clarify that business casual does include pants. Our follow-up to that. Size. Your social media team now realizes that our tweet about pants being part of business casual was made with the mistaken assumption that attendees would also be wearing shirts with them. We regret the error. Our follow-up to that. Listen, MFF social media team here again to talk about business casual. Just pretend you're boring people, like RP as a business traveler here for a business convention until Wednesday night. Please, we good?
That's funny.
And then there's all the photos of people in our lobby, like just hanging out in the fursuits and just showing off that they're business casual. They got ties
They
on.
all have ties on.
It's all about business. We're all business people. Yeah, very numbers. It's great. People, yeah.
So I'm waiting for convention code of conduct, just as more and more gets added, and then consolidate some more for it to approach this like code of conduct singularity where it's just don't.
Is it time for the water feature?
The what?
Water feature.
Which starts off with the elevator in front place.
It's time. All right, we're going back into the safe here. For those of you who are new to this, if you haven't heard this story before, congratulations. If you have heard this story before, congratulations. You're still alive. Pandez over here has been working at IFC for, I believe you were there for year one, right?
I was there for the original. Well,
You were there for year
I
one.
wasn't staff the first year, but I was there.
You were the Bank of Pandez. Pandez joined staff and got to be there for one of the most unusual and tense situations that I had ever had the displeasure of being a part of. Pandez, would you care to spin us the tale of the Frat Boys?
Oh God.
Sometimes
This cannot
you
end
share
well.
the hotel. That's right, sir.
Sometimes you share the hotel with other events, especially like here, you guys have the whole run of the hotel and everything because there's so many of us. When you're a smaller con, just starting out, a lot of times, you'll have a few hundred attendees, you're taking up X% of their space, and then you'll have another group that's taking up X% of their space. It could be a wedding, could be a fraternity. We were at the Sheraton, I believe, back a few years before our current hotel at Indy FurCon. And we found out we were going to be sharing with this group. We're like, yeah, it'll be fine. We'll get along. It won't be a problem. We were wrong. Over the course of Thursday night and Friday, our attendees were on our side trying to, just hang out, have a good time. But then they'd go down to the lobby and hang out down by the bar. The frat boys would come out and hang out down by the bar. We'd also share the same elevator, and we kept getting stories all weekend long of the frat boys, teasing the furries and, making fun of them. And the furries were doing a really good job of just ignoring it. And whatever, you guys, we're going to have a good time. You do your thing. But we kept getting all these complaints. We're like, okay, we're going to keep an eye on this. And then I want to say it was Saturday morning. Fur was trying to get, A Fur.
Yeah.
A Fur was trying to get on the elevator. And a couple frat boys were like, nope, you can't get on here. And they were like, what? What are you doing? They're like, nope, you can't get on. And as the doors were closing, one of the fraternity brothers looks through the closing doors and goes, You ain't Rosa Parks, you're not getting on this bus.
Right. Right.
This individual brought the complaint to operations. We immediately asked for a hotel representative. Tanya, a skinny young African-American woman.
Yeah.
Our hotel liaison, she was adorable.
She was amazing. She was amazing.
She was fantastic. We brought her in, and it was a Roxas, Todd, a few of the others were bored back then, and we sat her down and we started saying, hey, look, we're having all these complaints, and we get down to the last one, hey, and then this was the one that happened this morning. Yeah, Rosa Parks, you ain't getting on this bus. And this was her response.
Oh, hell no!
And like the Roadrunner, she was gone. Our Todd was like, no. 15 minutes later, there were signs everywhere. Emergency meeting, all fraternity brothers. This ballroom in 1 hour. There were no more issues the rest of the day.
I wouldn't say that.
Of a negative nature. I still wouldn't say that either.
Okay.
There were no more insults or problems for several hours. Then Saturday night happened.
Oh no. If you don't know this one, strap in, boys. And girls and other.
So in the lobby of that hotel was a table about the length of these two tables, but twice as wide. And for some reason, there was a group of a bunch of fursuiters all sitting on one side, like it was a weird version of what's that? The Last Supper.
Oh.
But they're drinking. So
you asked the Jew about the Last Supper. nice little nudge there, Tess.
So
You're going to hell.
They're all sitting there and they're all drinking in their suits. A couple fraternity brothers come up and join them on the other side. And they start drinking. And then they start chanting. Take it off, take it off, take it off. Wanting to take their fursuit heads off and talk to them.
Now, this wasn't one fraternity brother. This wasn't two fraternity brothers. At the take it off moment, about how many did we think were there?
I want to say 20? Like it was casual drinking, but then some more suitors came up and other furries, some more fraternity brothers. There was about 20 on each side at this point.
Oh no.
Fursuiters took their heads off and they were like cheersing.
Huge round of applause from the...
Yeah, big round of applause. Woo, you guys took it off. And then the fursuiters went, put them on, put them on, put them on. And so they went, okay, and the fraternity brothers were putting on the fursuit heads.
Oh no.
Fast forward to after MST3K, the initial MST3K, which is a separate fire alarm based story. I was not coherent, so the rest of this is done through all the information that is filtered to me over the years from various sources. There is actually a YouTube video of this as well, which we won't mention.
Good work on that.
Which I won't mention. Wink.
Wink.
Imagine about 100, maybe 120 people in the lobby. Oh, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Todd walks out of MST3K, and he hears from the lobby, drink, mother, drink, mother, drink, mother, drink. I'm censoring for the children. Sorry.
They're like, that.
We know what word you're censoring. That's good.
That's good.
And he's like, what? And walks out. And like I said, their lobby's on the main floor and all the convention space is on the second. So there's a little balcony type area where you can, like... There's like, gotta be about 50 to 100 of each group on each side, drinking and cheersing and chanting the drinking song very loudly. And he looks up, and across the way is another little balcony right behind the ops room where security was standing and looking out. Todd waves and goes, security just points to the hotel people who are in the front. And Todd looks out, and the hotel people are standing there taking pictures with their phones recording, thinking it's a great old time. They see Todd, and they're like, he talked to them later and was like, no, they were finally getting along. It's fine. But if you want to see the true insanity that was the lobby that night, it's Furry Frat Boys Indie FurCon 2012. I want to say 2012. It was our first year at that hotel.
That was our first impression.
That was a great first impression. But hey, at least they got along after that. But
and a lot of them went to the dance. A lot of them.
Some of them purchased day passes so they could go to the furry rave, although we never used that term.
One of them got a tail. One of them is here.
We see you.
I would never reveal that person, but
no.
Yes, they are here. There is
We
one
love
of the
you,
Frat
whoever
brothers.
you are.
So who is it? Raise your hand.
I actually know if he's in here, but he is at MFF, and that made me very happy.
I got one I want to bring
Oh,
up.
sorry.
Go for it, dude.
So I got a question to ask everyone here. Weirdest thing you found in your lost and found?
Oh!
I got this.
You guys lose a lot of drugs. You gotta take better care of your drugs.
Hey, I'll tell you. The weirdest thing, I work at a casino. The weirdest thing we've had in our
This
office
is gonna get bad.
prosthetic leg.
Prosthetic leg! That's why you work in a casino. It costs you an arm and so we found. Weirdest thing ever left. I mean, seriously, stop losing your drugs. What is the weirdest thing from your lost and found?
God, I'm not really sure. Like, the number of things that come through con ops are just surreal.
I got two of them.
I feel like, children.
Yeah.
Do children count?
Yeah, the children.
Like, random, just like, I found this. Does it belong to anyone?
We had drive-by drop-offs of children once a year at every con. It's like, found this, bam, runs like, child. Child, and that's just security, like, child. Child, radio, child, so code child, child.
We actually have rubber gloves up there for some of the things that get handed in because people walk in there with them and we don't want to touch them. So there's like gloves
Bad
and
Dragon box,
baggies and yeah.
Well, we did have a jar of mayonnaise. It was an actual jar of mayonnaise.
Was it open?
But it had a badge. There was a mason jar of mayonnaise with a badge that said innuendo. And that was in First Squared's Lost and Found, year 2, for 2 days, when I came in and my entire board of directors was eating ham and turkey on wheat with mayo, smiled at me and like, did you? Like, we're not stupid. We're keeping that. So yeah, in one of my board's house is a cleaned out jar with a badge that says innuendo on it. Giza, you brought it up. What was yours?
Weirdest thing we found? Fake breasts.
Jibbly jobblies.
Yeah.
So I just realized that I just got something and I feel so dumb. So we had somebody turn in a inflatable frozen turkey with a badge, and I just realized why that's relevant to the convention. I feel so dumb.
Troll level expert.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, the Ghibli job. All right, weird.
I have. It's not really weird. People lose them all the time. It was who it belonged to.
Oh boy.
Did you find my booze?
No.
Okay.
We found a passport.
From who?
Some of you might know him. He used to be a regular at conventions to the Ranting Griffin.
You got Two's passport?
Excuse me, Two has a passport?
Yes.
Yeah, he can travel. I
Hey,
he's a bird.
well, not anymore.
I have so many questions.
Yeah, well, this passport was from several years back, and so it didn't look like him. He had hair in this picture.
Oh, I would not have recognized him.
We actually didn't. We picked up the passport, we looked at it and goes, who the heck is this guy? And Kage's going, I know who that is.
No.
Let me see that. Oh! Yeah, he calls up Two and says, you're not planning on going anywhere, are you? Because you're mine.
Yeah, every
The
year.
bidding starts at $500.
Kage's very good at that.
But every year we have car keys, credit cards, driver's licenses, passports, and it's like things which will prevent you from traveling. Just show up in Lost and Found.
Yeah, please, if you're missing something, go to Lost and Found. Des, did you have a Lost and Found?
I was never involved in operations, and as chair, I just trusted my ops team to do their thing. So I'm like, have at it.
Oh, in that case, you did have something that you found. Well, you didn't find it, but you got something out of Lost and Found.
From IFC?
Yeah. Remember the Celebration champagne? There was like 4 bottles we found, and I commandeered them. So that was Lost and Found. Thank your attendees.
Oh.
If you
Okay.
lose booze at my con, I'm going to drink it. Just letting you know.
You forfeit it.
So that's why you threw him out.
You thought, what? Monster! All right, we're going to go into our quickfire round now, an old-time favorite of ours. Guys, out-of-context radio calls.
I have a list.
Out-of-context radio calls. Pandez first. Pandez, go.
This is security to operations. Should we do anything about the people juggling fire out on the back patio? Immediately followed by, this is legal, going off radio.
The SWAT team is here. They have riot shields and shotguns. Another voice comes on. Hey, that's an improvement. The prior year, it had been latex gloves and sample kits.
Woody, out-of-context radio quotes?
I'm going to go with security. This is programming. I'm at the hot tub. I have a code O.
Logistics to the con chair. This is the con chair, go ahead. The truck is in the river. Followed by, what?
Now, you are what at Texas? You are...
I was the founder. I was also the
Okay, I thought so.
Contract for the first 3 years.
As long as you make the qualifications, because too many
no,
people want to
trust
join us
me.
on this panel. It's
Trust
scary.
me, most of what you're saying I already know.
What's your one? Yell it out. What's your out of context?
Security to ops. The trees outside aren't for climbing, right? I wish I was kidding.
We're going to go with the double whammy from an amazing convention that has invited me year after year and given me a radio because I find it funny.
They haven't learned yet, have they?
Yay!
It is.
This is Con Store to Operations. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's the other one. This is programming. Has anyone put out the fire yet? This is Con Chair to Programming. Are you talking about the grill? Programming, yeah. Con Chair, please call it a grill. Chuckle, it was only 10 minutes later. This is Con Store to Operations. Ops go. Operations, we're gonna need more poppers. Dead silence on the radio. This is Con Chair to Con Store. Do you mean those little rubber novelty popping discs? Yeah. Please call them little novelty popping discs. This is medical. The Con Chair is going off radio. And of course, Woody, I would like you to do the honors this time. I will start the radio call and you can continue it. If you need help, if you don't remember, obviously, I'm here for you. This is security to...
No.
Charity?
We have so many codes, and you have to be careful what you say, because sometimes you use the wrong code. And having worked Treasury, there are some very specific codes, and you have to be careful what you say, because otherwise you scare a heck of a lot of people, because we move a lot of money.
A lot.
Alkali used the wrong code.
What? No, that was our good story.
Oh, no, you're going with the other story,
yeah,
but
what are you talking about?
I will continue the radio call.
No.
This is security to charity. This is charity. Go ahead. We have a half-naked charity bear on the information table.
I mean, is that PG? I guess that's, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's
All right.
PG-13.
So I love that story because I was in the middle of a party and we get this call. And so one of the people we had for the charity that year had not drank because he was losing a bunch of weight for some kind of military thing, and he was trying to get, buff. And so they decided they were having a really good weekend, and he was going to be allowed to drink. So he got to drink, and we get this call. We have a half-naked charity bear. He's on top of the info desk right now. Do we have anyone who can handle this? I think that Alkali, basically, we pushed each other down to try and help to get to this individual because we were concerned for his safety.
Very concerned.
We want to make sure that his needs were met and he was taken care of because he cared so much and we cared about him.
Yeah.
You gotta watch these people.
We got down there. There was a crowd of people around a very large mammal laying on the info desk. No shirt. Pants kinda ripped, no shoes, one sock. And he's singing a nonsensical song. And everyone around is like, we love the charity. At closing ceremonies that year, we got the most heartfelt speech from that charity. Yep. And it was an amazing experience. And afterwards, the charity bear did come up to us like, I hope I wasn't too much of trouble. Without missing a beat, this guy went, not at all.
Good times.
Oh, sure.
I love the charities. I love all the charities. They're
amazing. I do love all of our charities. All right, if we started it, we'll do it. We ready? So there we were, back of house at Consuite.
Yep.
I used to run Consuite at this convention until they wisely kicked me out of that department. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because that department has the devil. That devil is known as the soda machine. Exactly. Code Red.
Attendees love the soda machine. The staff do not. It's an evil machine, and it causes us so many problems.
If you notice, the first year we had the soda machine. We had Consuite and soda machine. The second year we had Consuite, soda machine on top of a large murder tarp. If you looked very closely, you could see that the carpet had been changed out underneath where the soda machine was the year before. You know why? Because Code Red is the devil. So we had an incident. The machine gets finicky. There is a reset, a hard reset on the side that basically just supercharges the lines in case that the carbonated water isn't going through. And I was informed while working in back of house that the machine had jammed and it was giving out just syrup. So I went out front and I started locking down the machine when I made eye contact with a youth. This youth was no more than 14 years old, was no taller than 5'1", and this youth was filling a to-go cup from 7-Eleven with Code Red syrup.
Oh my God.
Hey, son, let me restart the machine and we can get you some normal soda. And he stared at me, holding the button down for a good 2 or 3 more seconds. And I was impressed. And he backs away with this big gulp of Code Red syrup, goes, like lifesavers and walked away. I haven't seen him at cons again. I'm pretty sure he lost both his legs.
Vibrated into another dimension.
So this is what we deal with. As this happens, every time you restart the machine, it sputters in the back. Every time we have to reset one of the flavors, we're unhooking hoses. We are sticky. And it's Saturday. It's Saturday early evening.
Yeah.
Myself, Woody, and the late great Takaza find ourselves in back of house.
Uh-oh.
And we are in desperate need of some time. Now, when you get together with a group of weirdos like us, time usually involves being weird. And this year, we had something going on over the radios. Allow me to give you an example. DuckTales. All day! The year after, they put somebody in charge of radio etiquette. Not this year, though. Well, that's how it started. And then this guy over here started spouting nonsense into his radio. This is Woody to back of house, the front of house moved to the back, and the back to the front. The world is in chaos! DuckTales. Takaza's jumping in on it. I'm jumping in on it. Now, the problem wasn't that we were doing that. The problem was all the people getting on the radio. This radio is for serious business only. And then somebody else, Sirius FM for serious business. No one was using the word over anymore. It was all like, this is security to this person. We're going to need you over in Rosemont B. Stat. DuckTales. Every time. So as we are sitting there laughing, Woody leaned back against the counter where I was doing food prep. Now this was all the breakfast food prep, so basically garbage. It's done for the day. I have to throw this out and clean the dishes. Woody accidentally knocked over a bowl of dry oatmeal. And the oatmeal went everywhere. And we all had radios, so I figured...
He wanted to be helpful.
This is alkali, the oatmeal has been spilled. This man turned white as a ghost.
I was head of treasury at the time, and this happened to be a specific code phrase.
He went white and couldn't breathe and couldn't talk into his radio. Takaza leans back and lets out the most guttural, nervous, hysterical laughter possible. And I'm confused. This is security to alkali. Where has the oatmeal been spilled? Oh, it's everywhere. This is security. What is your present location? We will be there post haste. Radio lines clear. And that means do not use the radio. This is an emergency. While gasping for breath, clutching his chest, Woody uttered the following phrase. All you.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alkali! Oatmeal is code word for money. I, the charity guy, who had the tendency to have his inside pockets filled with panels worth and panels worth of charity money, had just went over the radio to tell security I dropped money everywhere. If you notice right now, Woody, what is that thing sitting next to you?
Radio?
That's a radio. Oh, you don't have to have one here. Notice how I have very clean ears right now? I'm banned from using the radio at MFF. All in all, I'd say it was a good day.
It was a good day. Yeah.
So that is the oatmeal story for those of you who have never heard that.
Imagine the relief he felt when they were like, oh, it's just the actual.
It was amazing.
I could not breathe.
It was less relief and more shame.
Yes, it's so
But speaking of communications, Woody, do you run the staff announcement channel here?
We do.
Did you seriously just post what came onto my phone? Because I'm reading it.
So I actually did not. I actually just got that same post through the social media group, and I'm like, ooh,
I'm still reading it.
Yeah.
A note to all staff. Please be careful on the skywalk. It may be slippery in places.
Yes.
Well, that's vague.
What did you do? Furries.
J-Lube water slide.
No!
Alright, this isn't a con horror story, this is just a real horror story, and I'm not going to tell you the ending because I think it's funnier for you to imagine it. Bad Dragon has to transport its lube inside of large drums, one of which fell off a truck in an industrial road. Extrapolate the rest for yourself.
It's a slide.
It is now! And trucks enjoy it.
I was in my room on Thursday with someone who is staff, and they just started giggling hysterically. And I was like, what happened? They're like, there was just a note in this email. Be aware, Bad Dragon's delivering 6 pallets to the Hyatt today. Like, 6 pallets?
The dong delivery! Thank you.
There was an awkward conversation about that at Anthrocon one year. The union guys came up to Uncle Cock and like, there's this big shipment here, and your name's on them.
Ah, yes, my weekend plans. I'm going to leave you with one more. This is a story of warning that I have loved over the years.
The rest of them haven't? The rest of them haven't been warnings?
No, the rest of them are ideas. This is a really dangerous panel. Every time we talk, it's like, all right, guys, we ready? Remember, don't give them any new ideas. 3, 2, 1, break everything.
Damn it.
Yes. We had talked before about sharing the hotel. It's a very common thing for young conventions to do. First Squared's first year, we were sharing the hotel with a cheerleading team, a youth soccer league, and a lacrosse team, which I was like, oh good, rich white people. They're gonna hate us. Well, they did. But the children, which is what furries do, the children were awestruck. The children saw all of their favorite stuffed animals come to life. And it was amazing. It was so heartwarming, and every moment of that con made me realize that I will be running cons till the day I die. Except, we have late night programming at First Square. Late night programming always takes place in one of the lower level rooms. It's a bit more adult themed, which is fine because they're all very respectful. No one's ever caused a problem, but what I didn't think of was to put a stipulation in there that said, if you are going downstairs, please wait to get downstairs to put on all of your leather costumes. Oh. So there was the soccer moms and the soccer children, and they are in the lobby, and they're playing with the Fursuiters, and the kids are having the time of their lives. One of the greatest things I ever heard. Mommy, Mommy, it's like all my toys are here. This is the best day ever. And then 3 leather boys walked through. They were clad in leather pants, harnesses, and masks. And a soccer mom put her hand on her son's shoulder and pulled him back as he looked over at these young men, and the mother said these exact words. No, no, son, don't touch those doggies. They're dirty. Fast forward to year 2. Now, I've made a lot of mistakes in running conventions. One of the things I made a mistake on first year of First Squared is I was the director of the convention and the director of programming. So I had to step back from that role. In the second year, I was working so hard with the con that I let the programming department kind of do what they wanted. And it didn't come to my attention until Thursday that we had a new panel at our con. We no longer had a leather panel. That story had become so popular they had changed the name to Don't Touch Those Doggies, They're Dirty. And to this day, we still hold that panel. Guys, we want to thank you so much. This has been Convention Horror Stories. If we can do outros from this side over, please. Just yell into the microphone, say thank you and good night.
Thank you and good night. Good afternoon, I guess. And Woody.
I'm Cryo. Thank you, and
Please stop.
I'm Nez.
I'm Giza. Thank you so much for coming by. Don't do any of this stuff.
My name is Outfly. We hope you enjoyed it. Good night!
Silver Gato Man, he bought me a coffee. Silver Gato Man, here is the song for thee. He likes to video all the panels at the cons. You should go and watch them whether they are short or long. Silver Gato Man, you video that's not a jibe. All of you go to his YouTube channel and like and subscribe.